Well, just the other day, the two legal memos that discuss the security status of XRP from 2012 was recently released. So I'm going to go over what some of the speculation about what these documents could actually mean. Are they in fact that helpful to Ripple in the case versus the SEC? Or are they so explosive that they're pretty much going to shut the case down? Because there's a couple of things that could go one way or the other. And the most shocking thing about these documents is actually who wrote them. So I'm going to talk about why that is significant and why Ripple probably pushed to actually have these completely unsealed to the public, because when I tell you who exactly wrote these documents, it's going to be a little more than shocking to some people. In other cryptocurrency news, there's something small going on with Opensea, as just last night it was hacked. Or was it a phishing scam? Well, nonetheless, I spent a lot of time last night listening to some Twitter spaces talk about how the Opensea, or people that held NFTs on Opensea, were actually hacked and had their NFTs confiscated. The Bored Ape Yacht Club being the #1 target. So I'm going to briefly talk about what Opensea says happened and what some of the other people say is happening. And of course, one of the biggest stories going around right now that you can't ignore is what's going on in Canada. The protesters are continuing to protest, and the government is continuing to get more and more aggressive. Right now, they're in the process of attempting to arrest people. They're attempting to shut down bank accounts and freeze funds of anybody trying to help those truckers and those protesters. And in fact, they're trying to shut down their Bitcoin and cryptocurrency accounts. So the government in Ottawa recently sent a request to a Bitcoin digital wallet provider, telling them to provide access to and freeze the accounts of certain Bitcoin addresses. And the response that they gave the Ottawa government is absolutely epic. I'm going to read it for you in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering the SEC versus Ripple case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind. Don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is what happened with Opensea and some of these NFTs getting stolen by a hacker last night. I was listening in on some Twitter spaces that were very heavily populated with blue check marks from Twitter, as well as usernames that had .eth on the extension. So a lot of people within the NFT space listening in and talking about this. Opensea apparently said that there was a phishing scam going on, that basically somebody sent out either emails or possibly websites or other things where if it got a user to actually click on a link, it would essentially do something that would give that person access to the wallet that stored these NFTs. And late last night, they took advantage of it and downloaded, so far from what I hear, several $1 million worth of NFTs. It's kind of a shocking thing to hear, especially from something as big as Opensea. Now, there's people on the other side of this saying, no, this is Opensea's problem. There's actually a glitch in their source code that actually allowed this to happen. Other people saying, no, it's from a phishing scam. If you didn't click on scammy links, you wouldn't have opened up your wallet to have access to this. So nonetheless, it's some really interesting information going on. I'm probably going to follow up with this story because NFTs is one of the biggest things in cryptocurrencies right now. It's definitely worth following up with. So make sure you stick around if you want to hear more about that, or you can go and check the link in the description below to my Twitter profile where I retweet and discuss some of the topics there. Okay, so now let's talk about what is going on up in Canada. It's pure craziness. It's pure disgusting if you're a fan of freedom or just humanity in general. But what they're doing is trying to basically cut all the funds off, cut all the food supplies off, cut any type of supplies off that are going to these protesters. And they're doing that by freezing bank accounts, by arresting people, or simply by trampling them with their horses. I'm not even kidding, it's on video. But relating to cryptocurrency, what the government is trying to do is freeze crypto bank accounts, aka digital wallets. They're attempting to actually take these over and freeze people out of their funds. They actually sent a letter to a digital wallet provider known as Nunchuck.io. And here's the response that they sent right back to the Ottawa government. Dear Ottawa Superior Court of Justice, Nunchuck is a self-custodial, collaborative, multi-sig Bitcoin wallet. We are a software provider, not a custodial financial intermediary. Our software is free to use. It allows people to eliminate single point of failures and store Bitcoin in the safest way possible while preserving their privacy. We do not collect any user identification information beyond an email address, and we do not hold any keys. Therefore, we cannot freeze our users' assets. We cannot prevent them from being moved. We have no knowledge of the existence, nature, value, and location of our users' assets. This is by design. Please look up how self-custody and private keys work. When the Canadian dollar becomes worthless, we will be here to serve you too. Sincerely, the Nunchuck team. That was one of the most epic responses to a government request that I've ever seen. And of course, it had to come from the crypto space. That response is, of course, going viral on Twitter, and they're 100% correct. And this is why what the Canadian government is doing right now is one of the biggest advertising campaigns going on for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. All right, so now let's get to the unsealed memos, the unsealed legal memos that Ripple just got and that went public. Everyone can download and see what was written about XRP, what was written about Ripple back in 2012. Now here's the interesting thing. In 2012, it was not known as XRP, it was known as a Ripple credit, and there was no Ripple back then, it was known as Newcoin. So here's what some of the information that came out of these documents actually says. And not only that, who wrote these documents are going to have you scratching your head. So according to James K. Filan, this first document was actually written in which they gave their analysis or their assessment as to whether these could be considered a security or not. At the time, Newcoin, which was a company that was holding them, said if Newcoin was to actually sell, they could be construed as a security. So the executives went back and actually changed their business plan at that time, and when they came back to the legal analysis team and explained everything, a second memo was then written about their findings, in which they said it does not look like you could construe this Ripple credit, which is now known as XRP, as a security. And there's a several page analysis that you can read for yourself. I'm actually going to link it in the description below. It will be linked to my Twitter profile and pinned there, and you can go and download and read all the PDFs. And there's really only a few important pieces of information in it, of which in that second memo says, so according to our analysis, it does not appear that these Ripple credits could be construed as securities. But being a legal analysis, which is what it was, also has a big but in there. There could be some risk, albeit very small, that the SEC may not agree with our analysis. Now keep in mind, the SEC took an entire 8 years to actually say that they disagreed with this analysis. And it also discussed how the company marketing or selling these Ripple credits, and that if they do it properly at the time, really shouldn't be considered securities, especially if they don't talk about anything about Ripple credits accumulating value or appreciating in price. And with that being the case, it's doubtful that it would be considered a security. It also talked about the use case of XRP and that it wasn't used for speculative investment trading. But like I said, if you want to read those documents, I'll pin them in the description below. You can go check them out. So here's the interesting thing. Who actually wrote this legal analysis? None other than Perkins Coie. Now, why is that a big name? Well, because Perkins Coie, they're big in the digital asset space. They're big in the cryptocurrency space. And they are actually the ones that wrote Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech. You know, the speech that was his opinion, but legal guidance at the time, but only the legal guidance and opinion of a division of the SEC, not actually the SEC. Got it? I mean, according to Gary Gensler, the laws are clear. So according to James Filan, these play more in favor of Ripple than anything else. Of course, being a legal analysis, it's not going to say this is definitively a security or definitively not a security, but it simply gives its analysis. But it's analysis, nonetheless, that Ripple was going by. James Filan said that this favors Ripple in several different ways, one of which is that Ripple was actually being extremely proactive by seeking legal guidance as to whether or not this could be construed as a security or not. It definitely shows that they're being proactive and that they were not reactive. This plays in favor to their fair notice defense. And not only that, them getting this type of guidance and getting absolutely nothing from the SEC, no clear guidance from the SEC for 8 years, even if you consider that speech being guidance, that didn't happen until 2018. So Ripple's fair notice defense is looking stronger and stronger by the day. Every day that documents like this are unsealed and we're allowed to see them is another day in which Ripple's case is getting stronger and stronger. I think that there is a reason that Ripple's lawyers allowed these documents, these legal analysis, to become public. One that I think personally is because it was written by Perkins Coie, which of course has its claws deep into Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, and many other blockchain and cryptocurrency projects. And of course, they've been working hand in hand with the SEC, as we now know, for many, many years. So if the SEC knows that the public knows that Ripple got its analysis from Perkins Coie, the same company that helped give Ethereum its free pass via Bill Hinman, well, that's probably your reason that Ripple's lawyers wanted these documents unsealed. So people like the XRP Army, digital asset investor Jeremy Hogan, James Filan, and John Deaton and the like could absolutely tear into these and show why these documents should be public. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end, for giving it a big thumbs up, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.